Good morning. So did you get here yesterday, or is today the first day? Yesterday. And you traveled and worked, right? Yes. And did you play last night? Oh, you're liars, aren't you? No, okay. Well, I'm so happy that you're here. I love the morning, and I can be kind of obnoxious, happy in the morning. So I would ask you to just bear with me if you're not quite awake. Maybe go get another cup of coffee or something like that. We're going to talk about guest service. We're going to talk about VIP service, and we're going to talk about you, we're going to talk about the bowler, and we're going to talk about me, and we're going to talk about bowling. I mean, how many of you are USBC volunteers because you got obsessed, addicted, if you will, to the game of bowling? Please raise your hand. I stand here before you, the CEO of a company called Trainertainment, because I too got addicted to the game of bowling. I can remember, I sold Tupperware, and so I was classified as a stay-at-home mom. And so in December one year, a friend of mine said, Beth, would you, I should put this on this one here, hang on. Who's serving you? I should do the presentation, instead of just visit with you. Who's serving who, and why does it matter? So that's what we're going to talk about is service today. And then I'll tell you this is why this is important. So a friend of mine said, Beth, would you come finish out the season with the ladies trio on Fridays at noon? Anybody get into bowling? Because a friend said to you, would you come bowl? And I'm like, well, yes, I can do that. I have a bowling ball from the 6th grade. It was a red polyester something. I don't know what kind of ball. And I can bowl about 150. I'm pretty good, right? And I even had my shoes from the 7th grade, and I have no idea how those shoes still fit. I was a grown-up, but they fit. And I bowled, and it was cool because on my league was a lady named Linda Taylor, who was a coach. And then the girl I bowled with was really good, man. She wore this big old brace, and when she bowled, Pam hooked the ball. I mean, it like hooked the whole lane. I didn't even know how you made a ball do that, right? Well, my birthday happens to be, you can write this down, May the 17th. So that's like at the end of league season, right? Well, Pam and Linda got together and determined she can bowl. She could be a bowler. So they bought me, are you ready? A Sport Tech, all right? A resin ball. And they took me to the pro shop guy, and they drilled it up fingertip. Now, I thought that was the dumbest thing I ever saw. Like, how can you hang on to the ball? Won't it fly back, you know? But I got to tell you, the end of league season, when I took that ball, Linda put me in a mongoose, and I put that ball in my hand. And when I got to the line, and the ball did not fly off the back of my hand, but did this and slammed into the pocket, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be on TV. I did. That was my first thought. I swear to you, I'm not kidding. And boy, I couldn't wait. The ball came back. I threw it again. Boom! I was like, gee whiz. Boom! I have no idea how many balls I threw that day, because until my husband called me at 4:30 and asked me who was going to get the children at school, I did not stop bowling, okay? And I bowled about like that every day for many days. That was 1992 and 94. I shot my one and only 298. Thank you very much. I booked 205 as the highest average. And I qualified to go bowl for the state of Texas at Team USA. It's my claim to fame. There were 64 of us. It took 32 to make match play. I qualified 32nd. I bowled every game. I was about 42. I was one of the old girls on the field. I bowled every game of match play. My claim to fame is I beat Shannon Pulowski, or Puklau, however you say Shannon's name. You got it. And I finished, are you ready? 32nd. And I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty proud of that. I am who you serve. I am a bowler. I'm a card-carrying USBC bowler. I bowl in 2 leagues when I'm at home, and I love this sport. I love it that I have the opportunity to bowl, and I'm a pretty good bowler. But you know what? I have a ton of fun in league, right? I don't care. If somebody's bowling 142, I can laugh and have just as much fun with that person who's kicking my butt bowling 230, and I love it. I love it. I haven't always been as calm of a player as I am now. I'm pretty, amen, brother, right? Oh my gosh, I didn't give you all the rules and you're already behaving fantastic. I speak for a living. I wish I could sing, but I can't. And so I talk. And when you hear something that you're like, oh, I'm so glad I know that, I'd like to just signify your overwhelmedness with a simple ooh, ah. Now, I can be an acquired taste. I understand that. And so I will give you a cue that one of those moments have happened. And really, you may even do something that deserves an ooh, ah. I'm expecting you to participate. So this is the cue. Just do it with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like for you to ooh on the out and ah on the in. Let's do it together. It was beautiful. It's so good. And with such a pleasant smile. If I had a prize, you would get it. Yes, that was beautiful. And I don't even need to give you the laugh real hard cue. You are fired up already this morning. I love that. It's horrible to be training or even telling a friend. You ever try to tell a joke that nobody laughed at? That is humiliating. And so in Texas, we would call something funny a knee slapper. And so that would be the laugh real hard cue. And so when you see that, I will not have any jokes that bomb because you'll get one of these. And you just see, like what you just did. That's perfect. You don't even need it. All right. So I want to have a conversation, and that means you've got to get involved. I'm going to ask you some hard questions. I'm probably going to even say some things that might not be very comfortable. They're not very comfortable for me. And I want to just preface this with my experience of USBC volunteers is my experience right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, okay? And there are some wonderful people that, when I say that, I mean I've bowled nationals and stuff like that too, so there's some wonderful people and there's some challenges. Would you agree that there are some challenges? Yeah? What would you say they would be? Like when you think about the challenges of USBC volunteers in general, especially when it comes to service and knowing who you're servicing, what would you say some of the biggest challenges are that you face today or that you see? Yes, ma'am.
The negative Nancy who says, oh, that'll never work.
The negative Nancy, yeah. That just beats me to death, right? I will be honest in effort to be transparent. I ran and made the board before everybody was combined. I made the women's board here. And embarrassingly enough, I admit that I only served 2 of my 3-year term, and I would say for that very thing. I didn't see that I could make a difference, and I could not do the negative, I couldn't do the negative stuff. I have a mentor that says to me, oh, y'all are in that, oh, ain't it awful mode. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? So the oh, ain't it awful stuff, yes, I would agree that's a toughie. What else? What else have you noticed from a challenge point of view?
Challenge is getting board members to be more than a member of the board. In other words, they're just on the board.
Mm-hmm. Like that it's a power position and they forget that it's a service position. So when you think about service, right? I would love to know what that means to you. When you think about, I mean, they hired a lady who owns a training company to come talk to you about service and being in service to others. What does that mean to you? Involvement. I love it. What else? Commitment. What? Oh, yes, dedication, almost obsession, right? You know, like if I'm going to do this, if this means something to me, because I'll tell you, to volunteer for something is a lot of work. I serve on an education board for IAPA, which is a large a trade association. It's like having a part-time job. You ever feel like that with your role? Sure, excellent. Let me tell you what I would love to do. I would love to spend time wow, USBC really made an investment, didn't they? I understand they brought y'all all here. Who paid for your ticket? Far out, right? They made quite an investment in your education, and so that's one of the things that I want to work with you today on and to talk about. And I think that you all have to do, like to be in service. I think there's probably more education for you to proprietors, to bowler, you know what I'm saying, don't you think? That you could educate even more, and you're going to get some of that here. I want to talk about communication because I think great service, I think a great time, I think great relationships depend on communication. I think every single thing in my life where I've had a disruption or an unhappy situation, anybody of you ever have any conflict in your life, right? It was all due to a lack of or to miscommunication. Like you could always point to that. This is the third one of these that I've had the opportunity to get to do, and I've learned so much just by getting to be with you guys that kind of dispelled some of the miscommunication that was going on. So we'll share some of that. That's been really fun. And then inspiration. Like I'm telling you something. If you could get down in here and remember why you're here and start using that, I don't think there's anybody in the world that wouldn't go, well, let me come do that. I want to do that with you, right? How many of you would like to go bowling with me? Right now. I mean, I'm pretty fun. And I'm pretty good. All right, that's my coach back there in the back, Susie Minshew. Some of y'all may know her. I'm pretty good, huh, Suze? Yeah, and it isn't because I was good to start with. I had to work hard at it. How many of you have to take your bowling that way? You're not natural. Yeah, all right. Tell me why you decided to do this. Oh, let's do this. Wait a minute. Everybody stand up. All right? All right. If you've been a USBC volunteer at least 1 year or more, please stay standing. Oh, kept everybody. 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. We got some lifers, I can tell. 15, 20, 25. They let you start when you were 12? What? 30, 35. Wow. 36. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That's a lifetime of service. 35, 30, 20. Oh my gosh. Why? Why do you do it? Why have you been here so long? Because you love it. And you love the people. Why do you keep doing it? Miss 36er over here.
It's a commitment and I love it.
A commitment and you love it. Where are my newbies? You're a newbie. Why did you do this?
Well, I started with my daughter when she was 4, and then when she kind of graduated, I was missing something. And so a friend talked me into joining the board because they needed new blood, and I've stayed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have more tenacity than I did. Right, dang it. I just couldn't manage. When you look at service and your role, we find most of the time you are experienced bowlers, right? How many of you that are on the board are card carrying, obviously, and bowling at least one league or more? Right, okay. You are definitely the keeper of the rules. That's such a hard one for me, right? I'm the kind of person that rules feel like they're merely a suggestion, you know. So it's hard for me, and I get it. It's part of your job, and I'll be really kind about all that. I got a little anxious in the last session. Are there rules that create conflict for you in your USBC role? Like what? People just like you, Beth, right? What else? What else do you see that creates challenge?
If you're a parent, you can't help your kid. My mom is board and parent, so if I'm in a tournament, she's still my parent, so she can't help me.
Oh, that's tricky. That's tricky. What else? Yes.
There's a conflict between the coaches and the parents. So the coaches are trying to coach the kids, the parents are out there telling them something different.
You know what's interesting? That isn't any different than any other sport, right? Your kid ever played softball or baseball or whatever? Football, all of it. You know, those, a coach would much rather mess with kids than parents, always. Yes, ma'am.
What we see is sometimes a conflict between generations because you have some of the older bowlers who this is the way it's been done for years and don't want to change methods or try to update things.
Right, and everything changes. Everything changes, right? That proprietors live that. You know, we got proprietors stuck back, oh, ain't it awful that we're not 70% full of league bowlers anymore. And you know what? The business has changed, and we got to do things different. Yes, ma'am.
I have some senior bowlers that are have cancer and are taking treatment, and they have been bowlers for years and years and years.
Yep.
But the treatments they're taking, they would like to come back and try to bowl on the league because they bowled people for years and years. But because of the three-day rule of getting an average, they can't bowl 3 games all at one time.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
That hurts them because they want to participate, but they feel like they're getting left out, and they'll kind of watch and almost cry
Because they can't get. You know what? My husband is battling his second round of lymphoma, and this time around it's been much easier, and he stayed bowling the whole time. The first round, the treatment really knocked him down, and I would tell you, of all the things that he had to go through, not being able to bowl, isn't that crazy? Was the thing that kind of was the biggest disruptor. So that's interesting, isn't it? And what are we doing, right? What are we doing as USBC and rule makers to kind of address those things? And that may be the first time that they've heard it.
I'm super thankful. You ought to make an exception for these people that's sick and let them know it's not me, but yet they look at me, it's me.
Right, because you're the keeper. You're the keeper of the rules, right? Yeah, that's your role. So that's tricky. That's tricky. And so a lot of communication, a lot of conversation, and, you know, not ain't it awful, but hey, look at an opportunity that we've got, and can we do it different? Which is why you have proprietors who will go forth and say, oh, no, we're going to have a 2-game. We're going to create a 2-game seniors tournament or league, and we're not going to sanction it. Right, which then gets all messy and we get frustrated, but we're trying to meet those kinds of needs, right? And we just have to get more creative, guys.
I just feel sorry for them.
Yes, ma'am.
They're in a league that's like that.
Yeah, I get it, man, I get it at a real personal level for sure. So, yeah. Lane certification. Ever have any conflict around this issue?
No, not at all.
I learned something in the last session that I did not know. And that was that lane certification could be a surprise thingamabob. That was interesting to me. How many of you that's how you do it, as a surprise? Oh, yay. That's really good. I don't know that, I like, when you're in service to others, one of the things that comes to my mind immediately is trust. Because I think that until people give you a reason not to trust them, it behooves us to have better conversations, right, and better communication when we go in with the trusting way. So you produced sanctioned tournaments, right? Now listen, I'm gonna get all excited here in a minute about tournaments because I think that we used to think that all we had to do was print it in the newspaper or pass a few, put flyers out at the desk and all would be good and people would sign up. But have you noticed that it doesn't work like that today? Do you know why that is? Why do you think that doesn't work today like we perceive that it used to work? Say it again. Electronic age, true, and so we better start communicating in lots of different ways. We're learning that in marketing, that you got to drip on people in all kinds of ways. Yes, ma'am.
They feel that the better bowlers are just going to win, so why should I even try?
Really, that's interesting because I'm not so sure that's the normal bowler's thinking. I think it is the way we think at the top level here. Because I don't know, like all the rules and stuff, I don't believe for a second that the 150 average bowler that bowls on Wednesday night has a darn clue about any of that stuff. Oh, and I know the other thing they don't have any clue about, and that's a lane pattern until the people like us start, and all of a sudden, it's like when the Olympics comes on, right? When you see the Olympics, don't you all of a sudden become a gymnastics expert, and you know that that's a 9.5 every time. Well, you don't know nothing about lane conditions, nor are you an Olympics expert in anything either, right? I mean, for real. And so we create some of that, oh, ain't it awful stuff, all on our own. You had something back here. Yes, sir.
So people's lives have gotten so much more busier.
Yes.
And you have to stay in front of them
Yes.
more frequently to keep it in the front of their minds.
Yes, I'm driving the videographer crazy because I'm moving, but sorry. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's so much competition. There's so much competition. And do you know what? It's crazy. So there's something like 4,000 messages that we get a day that say, buy me, do this, come get that, come do this, you want to go here, you want to go there, 4,000? Well, no wonder they didn't notice a flyer about the city tournament on the desk, right? I'm telling you, people buy from people, and if you go invite people to come bowl Friday trios, you're gonna get more of them that way.
It's kind of like Girl Scout cookies. You're not going to call up and order them with that little cute little girl with the big eyes
Yes.
looks at you. You're buying them.
Yes, I'm writing that down. You are exactly right. Did y'all hear that? Yes. We should write a book about that. Bowling is just like Girl Scout cookies. You got to ask people and they'll get them every time. You know what, y'all? More people in this country bowl than any other sport. They don't play ball as much. They don't play tennis as much. They don't golf as much. Some of you golfers going, I don't know about all that, right? They don't do anything the way they bowl. There's like 80 million. What's the number? Do you know? Million with an M, people that bowl every year. About what, 25 million of those people? Not 25. 2.5 million are league bowlers. I was really ambitious there. I got the numbers right, I just forgot the decimal.
That's because
They're addicted like you are. That's right. The cool thing about those 2.5 million, they're bowling 30 times a year, where the 65 million might be bowling 2 or 3 times a year. So that's very cool. We don't have to do much to really impact the bowler. And I got to tell you something, what's so interesting. Those of the other 62.5 million that are bowling recreational, many of them call themselves, are you ready? Wait for it. Bowlers. Isn't that interesting? I did not know that. We do, in my company, we sales coach and business coach lots and lots of family entertainment centers, and many of them have bowling as a base. That's where my love is, right? And I was interviewing a young man, a marketing student right out of college, for a job at a center in Tampa, right? And this kid was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. He was so sweet, and he was very enthusiastic. I said, why do you want to sell bowling? And he said, oh, because I'm a bowler. And so what did I think? He bowled league, you know. And I said, well, what's your average? And he said, oh, I don't know, you know. Me and my buddies, we just go about every other Saturday night. And he thought he was a bowler. Isn't that awesome? You know what they call us, guys? Let me give you this. We're leaguers. Leaguers. You can write that down. We are leaguers. And boy, it's so fun. It is so fun to go. And many of you are lifers, right? And so you don't even remember when you first bowled. But you bowled recreationally, I promise. You did. And we got to pay more attention to that. And we got to get our minds wrapped around, if the proprietor wants to do an 8x8 fun league, they're doing that to help move people along the line, and we got to quit being frustrated that they're not sanctioning. I'm using the wrong word, aren't I? That they're not certifying. Are you saying sanction? Thank you, ma'am. All right, okay. You deliver awards and provide recognition. So again, I'm just going to tell you, I only see things the way I see them here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So when we get an award, here's what happens. The USBC dude comes out there. I'd like to recognize Beth Stanley for congratulations, Beth. Now, I don't know about you, but when I shoot 300, I would like a ticker tape parade. Now, I don't think that's asking too much. Now, I just don't. I want it to be a big deal, and it is a big deal. When people shoot honors scores, when people win awards, it's more than, Beth, your burger's ready at the counter. You know, I mean, it's more than that. And we got to take that more seriously. And if I were you, I would be coming up and I would say, now what lane is Susie Minshew bowling on tonight? I've got her 300 ring to, or do we do that anymore? Okay, one, I know. I've got a 300 ring to present to her. And I would like to create a little bit of fanfare. Every proprietor in this country would be like, what the heck, yeah, let's do it. Let's create some fanfare. I like it. And maybe you even have your own little music clip. How hard is that nowadays? You could find it right on your cell phone, put it up to the microphone. Da, 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 da. Ladies and gentlemen, down on lane 30, Susie Minshew shot 300. We've got a ring. Susie, I'll be right down there to you. You stay there. I'm coming to you. My word, what would happen? What would happen? Somebody just went, well, they think I lost my mind. Why would that be so special? Why would that be different than the way it's happening now? Making it the big deal that it is.
Putting the spotlight on them.
I love it. Putting the spotlight on them just for a minute. Because what does that make them want to do?
Come back and bowl.
Yes. And what does it make the guy next to them want? I want that. Listen, if you're like me, man, I love recognition. Somebody get that kind of recognition, I'd be like, wonder how much I got to practice because I'm getting one of those. You know, you just never know what inspires people. And your visibility can make the difference. The way you serve and the way you treat others could make a huge difference. And I would tell you it's making a difference, right? Good or bad. The way you show up matters. Hall of Fame certainly is that's for you too. So, what do you think your primary complications are of delivering service? What would be the trick about giving an award with big fanfare? Time? Cost? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're just announcing it, it's not, but if you want a ticker tape parade.
Yeah, well, I know I was being ridiculous, wasn't I? Yeah, but yes, look for the ways to do that are meaningful.
One of the things that I also found out is let them know they're going to get an award at that level because sometimes they actually want to bring their family. And
That's
I
brilliant.
like to surprise them. Oh, let's give Bill his award tonight.
That's brilliant.
And the Bill's like, oh, I wish I'd known, so I'm going to my family.
That's brilliant. I will tell you, when I shot 298, I had no idea I was going to get a ring. And I'm kind of glad even that I didn't know, and it was a big deal. The anticipation of getting it was a big deal, and I would have loved that for it to have been a big deal the night of, because it was kind of here's your 298 ring. Yeah.
So is it better, because we have kind of a division in our board or in our league secretaries, is it better to give them their awards as they earn them or to wait until the end of the year and have a formal banquet?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. What's been your? That's a very interesting way of thinking of it. My experience is that they're just getting them as they come in, as they've won them. But I kind of like that idea of a banqueting situation. I don't know how big that would get. I don't know. Who's had experience there? Yes.
I think you'd have to condition your bowlers to understand that because the first time they bowl their first 150 game, the next week they're like, well, where's my award?
Uh-huh.
But if they're conditioned, then they know that holiday awards are presented at the end of the year. Maybe that would work. But
And maybe you make a big deal out of it verbally, blah blah blah, and that all the awards will be given at our banquet at the end of the year, and you're invited. You're a VIP. Maybe they get an invitation or something like that. Yeah.
Yellow paper and tickets at the banquet with like the champions with the city
Most of
tournament
them
or
want the
something.
whole
We
bowling
pay for
center
their
to
tickets.
know it. They want them to see it.
Yeah.
that's right.
Have the dinner and everything, and then we give out the awards. Even for 300, we give it there. They come, we invite them.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
I know for our junior league, we have an end of the year banquet where all the juniors are invited. Everybody gets one award at least.
Yeah.
And then you have your team who was number one, all of that, and everybody is there. And there's an end of the year slideshow, and it's amazing, and everybody loves it.
They love that slideshow's recognition, and again, that's not a big cost. I participate in a summer. Is anybody here from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia? So Howard Baum puts on a wonderful event, a great big kids event, and they have a gigantic, at the end of the summer trade show, a gigantic awards banquet. And I mean, all those kiddos are dressed up, and parents are dressed up, and grandma and grandpa come and stuff like that. So those are interesting. Those are great ideas. So maybe you could do a combination of both, like a card that says congratulations, you won, and you're formally invited to da-da, and you do the fanfare there, and as it happens, and then they get the benefit. I've talked myself into that being a great idea. I love it. Okay. Ooh. Okay. If you had to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think you and your association are doing with regard to being in service to your bowlers? Or to... See, I have an issue about growing bowlers and growing the business. And I don't personally think we should be in the business of managing the decline of bowlers. I think we need to all be thinking about how do we grow, I loved the video about the enthusiasm that was happening in that school in Washington. Isn't that thrilling? Because that's how all sports get exposure, you all. You know, we parents sign our kids up for stuff, and there are so many kids that can bowl that are excluded. They're too short to play basketball. They're smart enough not to want to get hit playing football, right? Oh, said the mama of a boy in band. Okay, and anyway, I'm curious, how do you think you're doing? How do you think your association's doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, shout out a number. 8. 9. 2. Yeah, the 2. Tell me why you think it's a 2. And I appreciate your honesty.
I feel like we don't include the new bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been doing this my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I see it every day, especially the much older people who've been around since I've been doing it. They just don't embrace the new bowlers.
They don't.
And when they do something wrong, like lane courtesy, they don't go there and explain it to them. They go there and bitch at them.
That's right. There's no grace. There's no grace. Yeah. It's like, you're here, you ought to know the rules.
They expect you to know the rules just the minute you sign that section out.
Right.
But they don't. They're new.
Right.
Explain it to them, and they don't realize that.
Right. Oh yeah, the worst thing that a proprietor can do is to put a group of new enthusiastic people into an established league. They'll burn those folks up, and if they make it past one season. And I think that's our problem, guys. I think that's a USBC issue. I think it's an experienced bowler issue. Yes.
I don't try to cause any problems, but you know, when I'm bowling a league or something and they got open house bowling over there.
Yep.
And I'm like next to the people at the lane before, I see somebody doing something wrong, like no lane courtesy, they don't know. So
Right.
I tell them, and a lot of people look at me and say, "Oh, you're gonna start a lot of trouble." You go over and tell them they think you're a professional bowler, you know, stuff like that. I said, no. I go over there and tell them they listen.
That's exactly right. There's a way to communicate and educate, right? And inspire some. That's exactly right. Well, you know, one of the things that cracks me up is to be in a center where they turn the music on, because there's a league bowling and there's open play, and you guys got to get used to it. It's a marriage. And they'll turn on old time rock and roll, which I can strike every time. It's my favorite song, you know. And 50% of the league is having a nervous breakdown that you turn the music on. Have you been in the bowling center? It sounds like a war zone. It's already loud. Boom, boom. I brought a friend of mine in one time, and she was like, I think she got a little PTSD anyway. She's like, God, it is really loud in here, you know. You need to get over the music being on. It's entertainment. You know, if we're bowling the USBC, if we're bowling the Women's Open, the US Open, and stuff like that, we can do what we need to do. But if we're bowling league, you just need to get your panties out of a wad if they turn the music on. Amen? And y'all have to teach people. You've got to start communicating that it's okay, right? You might not do that in the scratch league, but I got to tell you something. People not bowling because they think they're going to get beat by the scratch bowlers. Just separate the divisions. We can do stuff like that. We got rules that accommodate that. They're not bowling because nobody invited them and nobody created the enthusiasm. I can tell you that there was a day when I signed up for league that there was somebody from USBC there saying, hey, city tournament's going to be, in February, and I'm hoping you're getting your team put together now. How many of you started putting your teams together for city and state tournament at the beginning of league season? Put your hand up high, right? And if you're not doing that now, why not? Why not? Right? Okay. Let me tell you something. I told you those people called us leaguers? They covet us. They think we're part of the club, that we know the rules. We know lane courtesy. Have you ever taught an open play person lane courtesy? It's so much fun. Then they come in, they tell their buddy, no, don't you get up. You got to wait till that person goes. We teach the guest service representatives, y'all might call them porters, lane attendants. We teach them to teach the customer how to put the scoring in. You know what happens when people learn to put scoring in themselves? They go bowling more often and they take their friends because they know how to do it. And they look good. Hey, get them a pair of shoes. Holy moly, now they have to go bowling. They got their own shoes. It's crazy. That's how all that stuff works, and those are the kinds of conversations that would help grow bowling. Because I'll tell you, you know when people want to do it more? When they can do it better. When they can get better, they want to bowl more. You guys need to be doing a bunch of stuff with regard to coaching. That's why you're so consumed with the youth, I bet you. I bet that's why you're a lifer. Yay, Mama. Right? Right? Okay. All right. This is some more tricky conversation, all right? You and the proprietor have the same potential consumer, correct? When you think about who you're serving, if not for the bowling proprietor, you don't have anybody to certify. Yes? Okay. Talk to me about your challenges with the proprietor. No challenges in your area. That's beautiful. Are there any proprietors in the room? Raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, good. So you have that dual view. Wonderful.
I mean, just his ability to keep the center up. But I mean, working with him, no. It's just, I think, a money issue and income issue of putting money back into the center.
Okay.
Tournament schedules, trying to fit it in with everything else they have going on, birthday parties and business parties and everything.
Uh-huh.
They gotta keep their business going, but we want a good time for our tournament when there's not a travel league or something else going on.
I love that. I want to continue that conversation. Yes.
We have a house and I was saying that he can make more money on birthdays than he can a tournament.
Now, why would he say that?
Because participation is down.
Say again?
With participation being down for a tournament, they're not seeing the numbers.
Oh, that's interesting. So they would have more lanes of birthday parties in than tournament bowlers. Okay, that's interesting. What else? Why else would they opt for, and I got to tell you something, yes?
Secondary revenues such as the bar or the snack bar, all those extra services that they provide generate more profit.
Well, but except, wouldn't it be true? Don't we drink? Yes, we do. Don't we eat? Well, sometimes we stick the stuff in our purse, too.
But you have there are tournaments where you're running them at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're not opening the bar at 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
But they could, why not? I know if it's in Vegas, you drink anytime. If I go to Vegas at 8 a.m., all bets are off. I'm having a Bloody Mary on the plane, right? Yeah. I say it again? Lineage. Talk to me about that.
Well, we always negotiate a cheaper price for the tournament, and they can make more money on open bowling during that same time.
And so why do you try to negotiate a cheaper price?
To keep the price fund up and the entry level down on the tournament.
And how's that been working for you?
She answered.
Yeah. It's not working, right? It's not working. Why is that not working?
Because you need to increase the income, not decrease the expenses. You can't cut the expenses enough to make it where, and they want to, it's not always about the money, right? They're coming to have fun, you need more people.
Which also goes back to not going face to face and table to table. Do you want to bowl in this tournament?
There you go. So you guys have part of the ownership in making sure the numbers are up, right? So that if you say to a proprietor, I'm going to deliver 20 lanes, 5 people, 4 people on a lane, I really want to do it on Saturday. That's when I believe I can get the most people. Yes.
I think that some of those negative Nancy's that are on the board seem to sabotage it. Because we're not getting out there and talking to the bowlers, so if we don't really know if we raise the cost of the tournament, if they're gonna bowl or not. We're just assuming that they're not gonna bowl if we raise the price, but we're not asking. When we raised our dues for our cards, we assumed that it would not pass, so we had a contingency plan of what we were gonna do. We didn't have to go to it. We just
Right.
made our case and they
People, we signed our $23 checks or whatever it is, and we paid our sanction, we bowled, because that's what we do. That's what we do. People are spending $23 on Starbucks every week.
Yeah.
And we get a whole year's worth of bowling. Come on now.
And they still complain about it.
Well, you know, and it's can I? Would you?
They're writing their check, but they're going to complain.
But they're going.
They're writing the check.
And it's like 5 people. Let me get this. Do you mind if I touch you?
No.
You. Okay. The last time I said that, the guy said, "That's why I like you, Texas girls." So if I stand here and I kick you in the shin, and kick you on the shin bone, and kick you on the shin bone, after a little while, what's going to happen? You probably kick me back, right? And you're probably going to get a bruise. It's probably going to start hurting. And that's what that, and there's about 5 of them that do that. And the rest of us write our texts and go get our Coke Pepsi, and then start bowling. Sorry. I'm at the BPAA. It's got to be Pepsi. Okay.
But you get a lot of the seniors who will holler too. Oh, you're going up $1.
I know.
You know, and they get, you know, all of a sudden, there they are out there in Hard Rock somewhere, and they spend all their money.
Oh, and just go to the parking lot. Go out to the parking lot the morning the seniors are bowling. There's nothing less than a Lexus. Okay? Now, I got to promise you, if anybody's got money for sanction and $1 more for bowling, it's the seniors. So, see, it's not really that. It's not really about what they'll pay. It's about that negotiation fee. Now, here's the best thing I learned in teaching this USBC leaders class. And God, you know what I'm so excited about? There's a lot more women in this room than I thought there were going to be. And it has been true. And I'm not trying to be feminist. Men, I love you. Obviously, right? Yeah. But I'm excited about the balance, because I think when it comes to communication, inspiration, we need all of us, right? And there's a lot more younger people than I thought. I told Richard, I said, "Are you sure you want me to do this? I got some real specific thinking about the USBC and service, and they might not like what I'm saying." And I thought it was only going to be like 92-year-old guys. So I'm delighted that you're here. But here's the coolest thing I heard. Here's the coolest thing I've heard. They were talking about that negotiation, so I'm so glad you brought that up. And I got to tell you something. You can hold all the tournaments on a Saturday and a Sunday that you want if you will pay the going price. Don't go in there and insult that proprietor and ask them to change, especially not in January, for God's sake, and ask them to change and to give you some deep discount. It's not the way our sport works. It's not the way you talk about them being able to invest and make that center nicer and stuff like that, so you can be proud to bring bowlers to a center. You gotta pay what it costs. But somebody, yes, sir.
So we had this similar situation for years, that we were going in and trying to get the best price.
Right.
So Mark and I and one of our other members last year went in and sat down with the proprietor, and instead of negotiating a discount, we basically played practically what we're paying for regular bowling, but they gave back $500
Wow.
for the tournaments.
Yeah.
And we were able to split that. We run 2 different tournaments. We split $250, $250.
wonderful. And see, and I bet you would find some of that stuff going on. I bet you would find the fact that there are people who own businesses that bowl leagues in those centers that might sponsor and stuff like that. Like, we just have to get more creative, and we have to get more enthusiastic and get rid of our oh ain't it awful attitude, right? And go in with some vision of, hey, look what this could be. I had a guy in our first class, and I learned so much. He raised his hand and he said, but they have 99-cent games. And I was like, oh my gosh. That's a breakdown in communication, right? Because he's right. They do have 99-cent games. When? In summer, on Monday nights. Like, knock yourself out. You want a good rate? You do a Monday night league every week if you want to. And you'll get a Monday night tournament. You'll get a wonderful rate. Right? But see, that was really relevant to me, because there was an understanding, like, why won't you do this? But they weren't understanding the business of bowling. And so it can't just be the sport of bowling. And we have a little bit of a poverty mentality and fear that if we raise it $1, somebody's going to have a nervous breakdown. But, you know, I had a lady one time say to me, me and my husband never paid more than $6 to bowl league. Well, her husband had been passed away about 15 years. And I said, well, what'd you pay for milk back then, right? And so it's just a business. It's just the economics. It's a dollar and the cents. And so we got to not worry so much about negotiating. Let's go pay for what it is. And I think people still bowl. Because, see, they may not be bowling because we're having to do it at inconvenient times, and we got inconsistent. I helped run a handicap tournament for years here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we did them twice a month, and we held majors on Memorial Day and Labor Day and stuff like that. And the minute it's like stopping going to church, right? I mean, if you miss one week, then it's real easy to mix the next week and the next week, and that's part of what we got going on. We don't have enough. Yes, ma'am.
Well, our center this past year, he went up like $1 on each one of our leagues.
Uh-huh.
But all league bowlers can go in and open bowl for $1 per game.
Correct.
Plus on Thursday nights on the ladies' league, he gives $3,000 to the first
Wow.
place winner.
Right. Wow. Right, so there's give and take, right?
And when we do tournaments, we have a hard time getting times and dealing with this one person. But the price, we don't have no problem with the money.
Right.
How much we pay. It's
Right.
just that we have a hard time getting our time.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think that this common customer is an interesting situation, and I think that I think there's got to be more collaboration, more communication, and direct people to people, right? With the proprietor, with you, you know. What do you think the decrease in membership is about?
Houses closed.
Sure.
Big one right there.
Houses close, sure. What else?
People working two jobs.
But you think the economy? People working 2 jobs, somebody said?
People just don't realize how fun it is. When you're trying to get new bowlers in, you ask them if they want a bowl league, and they're like, oh, my grandma used to do that. They don't realize how much fun they're going to have until they get in there.
True.
It is about the fun, but it's also about the other bowlers making people feel welcome.
Yes.
And making the league fun.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
So many other things pulling people away.
Oh, for sure. Sir?
I think the original decrease started when they started getting harder on DWI laws, and also they took the smoking out of the cemetery.
Oh, it may be. It may be. Smoking certainly had a little bit of an impact. In the business of bowling, we noticed it was like just a speed bump, and then, man, a way up. I mean, I love it. I love it that there's not smoking. There's more people that don't smoke than do smoke. Yeah.
I think probably people don't know how to sign up.
I love it. Did you hear what she said? I don't think people know how to sign up. They see us as leaguers, and they don't. It's a mystery, and we're special, and they don't know how to get in the club, guys. They don't know how. Yes.
Pretty much, it's a commitment, and it's like getting married.
Yes.
You're in or you're out.
Yeah. We can't get people to stay married 36 weeks, can we? Yeah.
We've had teams come in for one season, and then they're gone.
Uh-huh.
It's like, this is forever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, we had two houses, and one of our houses burned.
Oh.
And the people that bowled, some of the people that bowled in this one house, that bowled for years, I bowled with them. I started out in this house many years ago. These people that bowled in this house, they flat refused. They quit.
And they quit, yeah.
I'm not bowling in that house.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of them in jobs.
This is crazy.
It is. Their jobs. Well, and some of that is definitely on the proprietor for sure. You know, in the proprietor world, one of the most drastic things we saw is that they would get into pricing wars, and secretaries would kind of play houses against one another. And if a league ever splits, here's the travesty that happens. A third stay, a third go to the new house, and a third quit. Just like you were saying, a third quit. So it's really, it's a, you know, in the business of bowling, we learned a lot of stuff that if they could go back, they would do it different. Some things I think that they would do different is they would not fill the house up wall to wall. While that seemed like a great business strategy in the day, it knocked out a whole generation of bowlers because people couldn't get in, literally. And it was fun. It was for sure income and things like that. But strategically, like you wouldn't go to a restaurant that you knew always reserved all their tables and you could never get in. You would quit going, right? And that's exactly what happened. So that's the interesting thing, and there's got to be this harmony, if you will, and strategy. You know, what could you be doing to help promote the sport of bowling and the league and the tournament side of bowling? What could USBC do to be in service to the bowler and to be in service to the proprietor? Because you don't even get them, like I say, until they become certified. So what do you think members want?
There's almost two levels of members.
Yeah.
There's members who want tournaments and want serious bowling, and there's members who want to just go and have a girls' night out, have
Right.
fun, have fun with the husband, whatever.
Right. Cold beer! Say it like it is, brother. That's right. That's right. What do you think they want from you?
Understand what they need, where they're coming from.
See, I think that's true. And I don't even think they know about you. I think if you polled every bowler, every sanctioned bowler in your association about did they know their USBC leadership group, did they know what their mission is or what they were in the business of, I would bet there's 70% of the people that don't know.
What we
Yeah.
did is we took pictures of the board, put it in the bowling alley.
Uh-huh.
They know who we are.
Okay.
And ask them questions and they ask us stuff, you know, because they find out a lot of people didn't even know about the banquets.
Right.
I was shocked that about 60% of people don't even know that you have a banquet every year.
Oh, for sure.
It's open our mouth, which is me, of course.
Does that go on here? Like, can anybody go to the banquet, Fort Worth people?
And if over there, I come to banquet, bring your family, whatever, but you know, we had to decide on how much the banquet tickets are.
Uh-huh.
Ticket at 20 and 25, and they can afford that. They get dinner.
Yep.
Everything. So, and then they get awards and watch it. A lot of people say, who's
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to an awards banquet.
We sell tickets, we sell raffle tickets, we do everything. When we do it, when we get there, people enjoy it.
Yeah.
A room full of people like this is coming every year.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, and that's why people are bowling, guys. That's what the member wants, in my opinion. You know, when I think back to the fun that I had, bowling state tournaments, bowling nationals, bowling city tournament, and that sort of thing, that's not something I'm doing every week. But it is something I think that from you guys, you all could inspire and get people invited. I'm telling you, I think that you guys could do and should do a better job educating bowlers and educating even the proprietor. You got a whole bunch of new proprietors that have family entertainment centers, and don't think that they don't make an assumption that they automatically do not want league bowlers. Everybody wants league bowlers on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I can promise you that, okay? They're making all their money. They're making 70% of their living Friday to Sunday, but we need help Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. League bowling is the greatest group ever, right? They come every week for a whole bunch of weeks in a row, and they pay whether they show up or not. So if you're in business, that's a pretty good business to be in. Yes? So I think that encouraging members to be part of the club is a big deal. So if you find yourself in a center, as a leadership, how many times during, like from September to December, would you say you're in a bowling center? Huh?
Hardly ever leave.
You hardly ever leave, okay.
Tournaments, league.
Tournaments, league, okay. So when you're in there, is there open play as well? I would so encourage you to go talk to people and thank them for coming bowling and introduce yourself and let them know. Listen, so many people just want to be invited to the party. So when you go see somebody that looks like they're bowling a little bit, what would it hurt you to say, hello, I'm Beth. I couldn't help but notice that you're quite the bowler. Don't know if you know or not, but I am the USBC leadership representative right here in this area. And I think you ought to join a league someday. Here's my card. Call me. They got all kinds of fun stuff going on here. Would you love to get your lane reserved? Know you have your spot. You'd never have to wait in line again. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay. Excellent. I don't think it hurt you. I don't think it hurt you. My life changed when Pam asked me to bowl the ladies trio league. It changed my life. That's kind of big stuff. And I think as leadership, you have some of the responsibility to help change lives. And that sounds crazy, doesn't it? But I kind of think that that's the way this sport impacts others. And then do that. I can tell you, when I was really consumed, did y'all ever do this? Who's got a paper, like a bowling paper in your community? The paper come out and you flip through, see what tournaments were coming up? Did nobody ever do that but me? Well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? Why were you bowling more? Well, y'all need to go bowl more, dang it. But I loved it. I would kind of line out, what tournament might I go bowl? I didn't know that the TNBA was specifically an African-American thing. I showed up to bowl the TNBA. It looked big, and it was really big. They let me bowl. I was so pleased. Huh? Well, there you go. Yeah. I know. They let me bowl. I tell you, it was way better than when I took a friend of mine to Bowl City Tournament who had not bowled in years. She was a big bowler. She had been out of bowling for a long time. And she and I got to running around. And she was like, yeah, maybe I'll get back in. So she bowled enough games to get an average. And I brought her as a sub for City. I was on the board. This is the year I was on the board. Well, one of the 2 years. And I took her and she didn't have a sanction card with her, okay? But you could look it up on bowl.com, and we walk up, and I say, I brought my friend to sub. We need a sub on our team, and she just got her average reset. She hadn't bowled in a long time. And this woman, who was on the same board I served on, was hateful, way past negative Nancy, hateful as the day is long. Talked to this girl like she was stupid. And, you know, what was she thinking coming without her card? I said, we can look it up. We can just look it up. I can show it to you. I can do it. And she didn't bowl. She didn't bowl. And that is not a unique story. That is not a unique story. I went back to the board, and we're talking and debriefing the city tournament, and I said, so this was my experience when I came to bowl, and I'm just saying, I think we need to be a little kinder. And one of the ladies said, well, we didn't do it like that back in my day. And she was the lady that did it. And I said, well, you did do it that way today. Yeah. They didn't throw me off that board. I swear to God I quit. Okay, so I think we got to improve our communication with each other. I think we got to decide what our goals are. I think we got to figure out that as leadership, as USBC leadership, the bowler, the proprietor, the sport of bowling is counting on you, right? And that unbelievably you have this power to make a big difference. You know, and if you don't believe that, go invite somebody to bowl and see what happens. I think you can touch people at league meetings. Who goes and talks to folks at league meetings? I think that's a great opportunity because a whole bunch of people don't know anything, and people make connection when they can be with you. And so go to the league meeting, say your thing, and then I would go down through the lanes and shake hands with folks and just tell them how excited you are and can you count on them for a city tournament. I think it's a perfect time to invite for that. I think you've got to collaborate with the proprietor more, and if you've got an antagonistic relationship with the proprietor, you need to figure out why and you need to fix it. And if you're trying to browbeat them on Saturdays for a ridiculous price point so you can hold your tournament, forget it, okay? Forget it. Pay what it costs, they'll let you have tournaments all day long. And if they don't, you can have them call me, okay? Because, you know, I mean, it is a matter of economics, and they got to be smart about their business, okay? Talking with bowlers at award time, we already figured out the fanfare. You can hardly wait, right? You're going to, you know, maybe you could just take a look. No, don't take ticker tape. That'll hack the proprietor off for sure. And then, like I say, I'm just, for one time, I would just like, for a little bit, I'd get involved here in my city and triple. I know that if Chad, we should talk. I bet I could triple the entries. What do you think about that? Huh? I bet we could. I have to see what I think I could help with that. I just think that we don't have the attendance because we haven't invited people. How many of you agree with that? Yeah. You can build connection. You gotta rely on that proprietor, right, to provide great execution. You ever tried to hold a tournament and it was just a train wreck? That's tough. You know, that's real tough. And so I think you have to be smart and bowl with the people who you know are going to deliver. And then I think just taking the time to, and by customer I don't just mean sanctioned folks. I mean even open play, and that may sound crazy to you, but I know people love to be invited to the party. So I think you've got to ask the right questions. And It's funny because what do you think the right questions are to ask people about bowling or being a certified bowler? What do you think the right questions are? Would you like to be certified bowler? I say, well, I am certifiable. No, right? No. Well, what would that give me? You want to have some fun? Yes, I love that. That's what I teach the deaf person to say for guest service. Not how many games would you like to bowl, because people don't know. They have no idea. I like to say, how long can you stay today? Right? What else?
You want to learn how to be a better bowler.
Would you like to learn how to be a better bowler? That's right. Oh, that's fantastic. And they always do want to do it more. That's what happened. I'm not kidding. It was just like a miracle when that ball came off my hand and went, because I had in the past with that little plastic ball kind of bowled, like this somehow, right? But no, I loved it. We coached, my husband and I coached ball when my girls were little, and I had them when they were 13, and we had twins that Stephanie and doesn't matter what her sister's name was, the Stephanies, how's that? I can remember them standing in my kitchen one day, and they were eat up with softball, right? You didn't even have to tell those girls to practice. And I said, what makes you do it? Why do you just, she said, well, because I'm good at it. And I thought, yeah, that's right, because I'm good at it. So some of the times when people are leaving, when they're bowling that one season, sometimes a proprietor put them on a experienced team, and the negative Nancy's burned them up. But sometimes they didn't get any better, and so they didn't want to do it anymore. And so, as USBC, you could be helping promote some of those kinds of coaching clinics and things like that, right? That would help people get better. Wouldn't that be fun? Because if they get better, they'll bowl more. Why people bowl, you've said it over and over again. It's because it's fun, it's camaraderie. I'll tell you, it's family, isn't it? Isn't it the greatest thing in the world? You don't need to call the roofer or the banker or the insurance agent or the plumber, because you know them from league, don't you? They're in your bowling family. They absolutely are. So USBC, and I apologize, I should have the word, I guess, leaders. You're ambassadors of the brand, whether you believe it or not. The way you show up, the way you talk about bowling, the way you are bowling, it really matters. You are the ambassadors of the brand. And you need to be more visible, I think, in a way that's not just like, I want a 50-50 ticket for a bowling ball.
The way you act while you're bowling.
Oh, I've acted bad. I've thrown a mongoose. I've acted bad in my day. I'm competitive.
Just for example, say for instance, you're a really good bowler and you're 200 average bowler, you got these women that's 135 or 120, and they'll look at you and everybody knows who's good bowlers are in the house. Everybody knows.
Oh, yeah.
So they say, well, shit, never bowl. Who would bowl? I'm the opposite. I ask them to bowl. And
Wonderful.
it doesn't matter what their average are. They say, for real? I can bowl with you and your friends? Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because they feel that they're not good enough to bowl with so many people who bowl 200 games.
I'll tell you, I bowled, and this will tell you how old I am, but I bowled PWBA and LBBT, and I loved nothing more than, I bowled regional stuff, and I loved nothing more than the pro-ams and stuff, and the women are incredible. If you ever get the opportunity to go bowl, and I'm sure the men are great too, but I know the women are incredibly gracious and tons of fun. I've been at a grand opening before, and Kelly Cooley, a grand opening of a family entertainment center that had bowling as a base, right, and laser tag and games and all that. And you know what people were interested in? Kelly. Kelly was there. They were interested in her shoes. They were interested in the way she let the ball go. They were interested in her. And those are people that don't know nothing about bowling, right? I'm telling you guys, we got the best game. We have the best game in town. So I would tell you, the thing that I think we got to do is I think we got to get more of us minus the negative Nancy's, right? And we gotta do what we can do to help retain bowlers and to recruit new ones. Because like I say, I really do believe that we have the best game in town, and as leadership, your responsibility is big. I really appreciate the USBC pulling you together. I think this is great vision and excited to be a part of it. I'll be open for questions or whatever. Chad? Thank y'all.
Better begin for Beth.